Now let's move forward with a truly relevant topic in today's digital landscape, the intersection between innovation and cybersecurity. It is our pleasure to welcome Natalia Olson, a recognized expert in emerging technologies and regulatory strategy, who will be sharing her vision in the session, Next-Gen Cybersecurity, Bridging the Gap between Emerging Tech and Evolving Regulation. Please give a warm welcome to Natalia.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Great. Well, I'm an urban planner by heart and also an entrepreneur. So I think very much that everything is interconnected, because when we talk about cities and towns and regions and states and countries, everything today is a lot more connected than you thought 20 years ago. So just to give you a little bit of background, I helped open the first urban office at the White House because we believe very much that our urban areas are very much not in danger as much, but when you had the apagón, the big dark day, it was the cities who actually were more at risk than anything, because we had people like locked up in an elevator, or we had to shut down an entire train system. Just in New York alone, we moved 2 million people. 2 million people a day. So when it comes to transportation, when it comes to like water, when it comes to just the basics, a reporter asked me the next day, "So how did you do in Barcelona?" And I go, "I did good because I have an emergency kit." I grew up all over the world, so I knew that I had to always have an emergency kit. And in that sense, help me understand, because when we are traveling around the world, we see the differences in development. We see that some countries or some cities have been leapfrogging. They've been doing really cool things without the infrastructure that we have built, for example, in Europe or the US. And what's important is that this revolution, this new tech world that we live in, we've learned a lot, but it's only 20 years old. Only the tiny little part that we see at the bottom of this slide. I come from a country that is pretty young. The US doesn't, 300 years. We still have a lot to learn from our wonderful European ancestors and guides and wisdom. But I like to remind people that 200 years ago, when my president was trying to send a message to Queen Victoria, it took about 16 hours. Pretty good, I thought. Today, we are so impatient. We want for innovation to happen so quickly, but we forget that the infrastructure that is needed for this takes time. Why? Because it's a public-private partnership, right? We've elected our public officials. We expect for them to help us move things around, but we also need for innovation from the commercial side, from the business side. And so I was working for Obama for 7 years. I was the vice minister of the Small Business Administration, which is like the Ministry of Small Businesses, at a time that we had to really pick up on the economy. Remember the 2008, 2009 recession? Maybe. We have very short span time of remembering stuff. Well, it was pretty tough. So we really needed to inject small businesses, get things going, commercialize all this cool technology that was sitting in the research centers and development centers, and we needed to make sure that we created new economies, new ideas. And so we started looking at what was happening around the valleys of excellence. And we started looking at how can we fund new entrepreneurs? How can we move things along? And one of the things that I really want to point out is that we, with our iPhone or our smartphone, it's only been not even 20 years. Tell me, would anyone give up their smartphone for like a week, a month? Right? Anyone? Please. Someone. Great. Thank you. But when the apagón, with the big dark day of Spain and Portugal happened, everyone was in crisis. They couldn't pay. No one was using cash. We couldn't communicate. And you realize how important that type of technology is, right? And I think that in the last few years, AI, we have been using AI since the 1990s, but today it takes a bigger position because right now we have better data, we have better information, but at the same time, AI will be very transversal across different industries. And I predict that cybersecurity, because we've been working with cybersecurity for many years, since the first installations, since our first, big security and defense and so on. And I think cybersecurity will be the next big theme that we'll be talking about more, because just like our presenter said, we have attacks every day. And this little, gadget that we sometimes think is insignificant helped us create better cities, helped us create better systems, and helped us get completely bogged down with all these things that we have to know today. 20 years ago, we didn't have to understand all of that, right? Now we have digital twins, we need to talk about digital ethics, we need to talk about, artificial intelligence, we need to talk about gaming, because our children, are doing a lot of this. Barcelona has become a really great destination for the gaming tech. Yay. And in the last few years, we've been talking about metaverse, how the big tech companies, which I live in Barcelona, as well in Palo Alto, heart of Silicon Valley. And so a lot of my wonderful, beautiful companies are always criticized. But to let you know that all of these companies were actually started to do the right thing, to communicate, to help each other connect. And because, you have to make money too. The business is business. It's not a public offering. This is in Spanish, sorry. But I wanted to make sure that people understood how our new technology, and especially on the AI side, we're creating better public health, we're creating better traffic, we're saving energy. We're figuring out how kids with asthma shouldn't be going to certain areas, that we can actually protect them, that the energy side of things, we're able to know where our defaults are, where will systems fall, what happens when that falls, because of the focus on AI. And like I said, we do need government. We do need good leaders. And, I can give you lots of stories, but I don't have enough time. So one of the things that when you have the power to do the right thing, you have the power to use the right data, the power to open that data, we have to be able to be influential. We have to be able to get that feedback from our citizens and see what is not working. So when I went into the government with the Obama administration, I was like, of course, we can change things around. Absolutely. We're just going to insert technology as much as possible. But we didn't realize that we, as a country that uses very much defending the rest of the world in many ways, that defense and security was essential, that our security was a little bit more antiquated in some ways. Everything was top secret. We couldn't allow for geolocation to happen. We couldn't allow for certain things because it had been in policy that this is national security. We cannot allow for citizens to be at risk. So, wonderful. I love our journalistic teams, our reporters. They went ahead and did lobbying. It's a good thing, smart advocacy. And they said, we need information. We better need information. It's important. And that push created a whole new economy, which is the sharing economy, which is why you stay at an Airbnb, why you use an Uber, why your financial way of paying is allowed, because when you open that data and you secure it in a certain way that is for the citizen, and you have the government behind it, you open so many opportunities. So, all crowdfunding started, all this stuff that created a new economy because we were in a recession. And And so voila, there's companies started coming up, ideas started to blossom. I know that you know some of these companies, one of them in particular, Tesla, very close to my heart because I signed off on that check. We needed cars that communicated, right? We needed more electric cars. But the security of people, right? How do we modernize that? Well, we allow for entrepreneurs to go ahead and test it out, but we also make sure that the secure system of this new ideas are always very much in tune with the regulation. So a lot of you folks know about Horizon funding, next generation funding. Well, it's based on SBIR and STTR because I used to come here and teach about this, because we needed in Europe to have a lot more funding for a lot new ideas. So in 2012, when the Horizon funding starts pushing money out, we start seeing a lot of friction, a lot of new ideas, and this is where I think Europe has a great opportunity, especially in the Mediterranean. Competitiveness is good. I was an advisor on innovation and competitiveness. You need competition for your business, for your projects. You need that friction, because if you do not have a competitive edge, you will not be able to grow your companies. I'm going to tell you a very short case study of one family who immigrated to the US, small little family from Persia, from Iran, had a little two-floor building. Two interesting gentlemen came over and said, we have a company called Google, and we can't pay rent. So Saeed is like, it's all right, I'll own 5%, let's figure this out. I'll own 5% of your company for rent. Awesome, 5% of Google. And that's where an accelerator program got going, right? And then I copied that program so we could actually have grants. And those are some of the things that kept happening and how we start growing. Again, it needs an entire collaborative approach. Universities, commercialization of technology, investments. We need investors. We need the creativity side. We need the scientists. We need the guys who are moving stuff around. And one family, one building, 35 unicorns. Very impressive. I just believe that we as women, as entrepreneurs, we really need to elevate our investment capability. Still in Silicon Valley, we're still a little bit behind. We still only have like 2% of women investors, but we're growing. It is programs like Women in STEM. It is programs that Eva is actually pushing for more women to be recognized, for more investors to know that we can grow all these amazing unicorns. And in that sense, I love to talk about what Barcelona is producing. We have a wonderful company here called Repscan, which I'm an advisor for. So during COVID, the usage of the internet was doubled. You would think that that's kind of not a big number, but the entire usage before COVID started doubled. And people were posting stuff all the time. Now, who here would love to take off a picture or a video that they did it when they were drinking a little bit too much, or they were pissed off? Tell me, would any one of you guys would like to take a picture that you didn't look really good on, that maybe you said something stupid? And I know there's some. So Repscan came into play. Repscan is a company started by Josep Cole and Mar, who actually started Red Points and so on. And they realized that there's a lot of negative content, that the fact that your reputation online can create a lot of problems, right? Not only for yourself personally, but for your business. Your secure data, what you have put, has been in a way innocent. But when you start creating a digital profile, when my country starts asking you for your links, your social media links in order for you to get a visa, and when China starts demanding for your social media activity in order to give you a loan, you start thinking about this digital reputation, this digital score, which can easily be hacked. How many of you have been hacked? No one has been hacked? No. When your credit card, someone takes your numbers and starts buying stuff around, that's pretty impressive. You must be really well secured. But it happens a lot. And it can happen very easily with your digital persona, your digital profile, extremely important. So, Repscan is one of those today, which I think we really need to understand our landscape, what we're doing in the whole cybersecurity area. We need to go ahead and understand what are the risks, especially in Europe with the cross-border. I believe very much that balance between regulation, government, and especially our SDGs, our ESGs, how do we balance that across? As a person who does both, I actually believe very much that there has to be a global regulatory perspective, a framework where cybersecurity is going to be an essential part of this. And so there's a call to action. What are we going to do as individuals? And I was a little planner. I didn't know anything very much about government, but I decided I'm going to move the green economy forward. And I was sitting in an audience like this with the White House team, and I said, you're not doing enough. And the White House said, come and change it. So you can change things as an individual. And so I ask you to please, learn as much as you can in this wonderful conference. Take all these ideas, take tools, and learn and do something big. You can always change the world in your community that will make a big difference around the world. Thank you very much.